Hello, this is Jack, and today we're going to be looking at this Chinese crossbow reproduction that I made. So this kind of crossbow, the drawings and depictions appeared after the Mongol conquest of China, after the Yuan dynasty has fell apart. By this time, I think the traditional Chinese triggers with the three-piece and the metallic bronze kind of style triggers have died out, because I think during the Yuan dynasty, a lot of the Mongol officials tried to suppress rebellions by shutting down a lot of the factories that make those kind of triggers. It became increasingly hard to make those kind of triggers, which means you got to find another kind of trigger design. Well, the indigenous people of Southwestern China, northern Vietnam, that kind of region has this type of trigger. It doesn't shoot heavy crossbows, but what it's good at is shooting light bolts with poison. And these kind of materials are quite abundant in those regions. The Chinese during this time, when they were writing about these kind of crossbows, they almost forgot about the ancient Song dynasty, the Han dynasty crossbows. They wrote about it, and they wrote about how they rediscovered their ancient crossbow triggers, because I assume the Mongols already erased a lot of the history that they knew about their crossbows, and a lot of the the skilled workers of crossbow makers, they are forgotten. See, the Mongols, they relied on their horse archers, and they weren't really interested in Chinese being crossbowmen. They did use them for siege artillery, but more often or not, they used Chinese infantry as cannon fodder, or just melee infantry for sieges. Those are much more important for the perspective of a Mongol general. So during this time of the Ming Dynasty, when you have this kind of rediscovery of the past, they talked about these Han Dynasty crossbows triggers, and they originally made them out of bone, and they realized it wasn't powerful enough. But eventually they said, hey, we have these old triggers, and we can replace our older crossbows, which were these, into the newer, rediscovered ancient crossbows. But by that time, during the Ming Dynasty, you already have muskets, arquebus, all kinds of gunpowder weapons, so I don't think those rediscovered crossbows played a significant part. You're already at the end of crossbows for warfare. But these did play a niche role because, again, you don't see any metal here. You don't need metal to make them, which means you can mass produce these as long as you have the local materials abundant, and give them to melee infantry. Your typical spearman might not have any ranged options. Now you give them something like this, and they can put some suppressing fire while they're waiting or engaging. Gives them more options. Your gunpowder weapons need metal, your melee weapons need metal, your bows need metal for the arrows, and so these crossbows don't need any metal at all, which just saves money for the army. But I don't think they played a significant role in China. I think what these were more useful is in the jungles of southwestern China, Vietnam, northern Vietnam. In these kind of jungle areas, this is the excellent weapon for, ambushing, for scaring off soldiers. You can wait in the bush, in a bush, and wait for the enemy. After you shoot a volley, you can just run away. Unlike slingers, which need a decent amount of space, you can hide very dense in the jungle after you shoot your volley and just run away. And you're gonna create psychological chaos to the enemy. Some of these folks are lucky they don't get hit by the bolts, and while you're not going to die immediately by the poison, most likely it's going to take hours or days, but the rest of the people that survive, they're going to think, am I next? Because now you still have to walk to the next capital, and also you don't forget malaria, local diseases, general attrition. You got of course, lack of sleep, stress. It's gonna cause a lot of these psychological factors that could be decisive after when you gauge them, in field battles. And so I do see these as quite important for, harassing the enemy. Horse archers use similar tactics, but in the plains. In the jungles, you want a weapon like this, or bows, of course, are also used. The biggest problem with these is that you really rely on poison, and if poison is not available, or the poison is not strong enough, you got something with a very weak stopping power projectile. So it's in the heat of battle, I don't think these were as effective. If you want to make this effective, you need really strong poison or a much bigger crossbow, and then rely on the conventional stopping power of a crossbow instead, which this can do. Just need a longer power stroke with a lot more draw weight, which is possible. But today's focus is on these lighter weights. Now, the specific one described in Wubeizhi is describing this as a tiger killing crossbow from the Xuanhu area. I don't know where Xuanhu is. It's likely a medieval area of China, probably in the southwest. I don't know exactly. I looked it up. I couldn't find it. It was a medieval name of a place in China, but I don't think that's important. It's likely a place where they rediscovered these crossbows, but it's not. It's unlikely that they invented it there. Maybe the exact design, the geometry, but the idea of using these kind of simple crossbows with a lever trigger or some kind of flicking trigger, that's been passed down for thousands of years in these regions. So we can't be saying Xuanhu invented these crossbows, but they likely were a major factor during the Ming Dynasty, a major player in the Ming Dynasty of producing these or using these in that region. Because how light the draw weight is, about 40-50 pounds, I don't think this is the historical draw weight, but this is just the draw weight I get from the fiberglass bars here. Sure, I can beef it up and all that, but I have no intentions because this is fiberglass. It's not a historical bow material, so there's no point testing the performance of this when you're using a non-historical material in the first place. And I'm not using this for hunting, just for educational purposes. Therefore, I find this sufficient enough. But like, because of the draw weight, how much draw weight it takes me to pull this thing, I think the draw weights for those prods are around the 100 to 200 pound mark. In those draw weights, you do need a spanning device, but for a 50 pound prod, I don't need to span it that way. I can just span it like this. You saw that? Now, I'm not a good archer in the first place. Accuracy was never my thing, but this thing is so much more accurate, and it's homemade, by the way. I made it myself, and I'm getting pretty good accuracy for my skills, because with the bow, it would not be this close of a grouping. It would be all over, because I'm not an accurate archer. Penetration-wise, for a 40-50 pound bow, that will penetrate flesh. So, but if you want to be reliably penetrating flesh, I would heat treat the bamboo skewers instead. This is just not heat treated at all, and I'd get a 100 pound prod. Then it would be a lot more lethal, I think, for penetrating just flesh. And that's all it's designed for. I don't think this is designed for any kind of armor piercing, although it can still penetrate chainmail because of how thin this is. It's not penetrating chainmail, it's just going through the rings of the chainmail. Although the Ming people didn't really use chainmail that much. The stirrup, which is on the rear side. And now I'm ready to shoot. Locked. And there you go. These were one of the last crossbows used in mass production in China, and in fact one of the last crossbows being used in military history all around the world. After this, crossbows became less and less popular for major militaries. Of course, there's still some niche uses here and there. Even the Ming Dynasty, there's still uses of crossbows, but not in the same scale that you had in the 17th century in China. Pretty much the end of the history of crossbows. I mean, repeating crossbows were used in the Boxer Rebellion, but in so few numbers, it's kind of irrelevant. But this is pretty much the end of crossbows, and you're pretty much looking at it right now. So I want to thank everybody watching this video, and let me know what you want me to make in the future. This is Jack signing off. Welcome to the jungle field, mother